Good morning, good day, and good evening to all the members of what I now call the Straight Talk Club. Welcome once again to one of our programs as we wind down, or as they say, wind up to the end of 2019. 2019 has been a very interesting year, if not exciting year, for a host of reasons, but primarily because of two. One, the continuation of the APNU-AFC coalition in government with all the misdemeanors, all the missteps, and all the actions which are basically contrary to the interests of the Guyanese people. In every part of Guyana, as we go and we travel around, we would hear all kind of negative comments about the rule of the APNU-AFC. And this is quite common across the country for a host of reasons. Basically because many of the policies which the APNU-AFC has adopted have not brought any relief whatsoever to the people of this country. And when I refer to the people of this country, I refer to people from all walks of life. The farmer, the cane cutter, the producer in the agricultural sector, the sawmillers, people who work in all areas of economic and productive life of our country, as well as those who provide services and the business community as a whole. So after having gone through all these bad experiences in 2019, the big question for 2020 is, what does 2020 hold for the Guyanese people? We can designate 2020 the year of great expectations. Great expectations precisely because the expectation on behalf of the Guyanese people rests on certain fundamental pillars. First of all, let us talk about the global and international situation very briefly. Guyana, as you may know, although some do not appreciate this fact, is not a country lying by itself, or to speak, an island on its own. Guyana is part of the global community. It's part of what is called the global village. And it is part and parcel of what we commonly know today as globalization and the internationalization of world trade. And so for Guyana to exist, it has to sell its products to the international community. It has to engage in international trade with other countries of the world in order to earn foreign exchange, so that in earning foreign exchange, the foreign reserves, as well as the local business community and others, can purchase foreign exchange in order to purchase goods and services abroad. So that the economy of the country is a very important aspect of present day life in our country. And it is the economy, to a very large extent, that will influence the outcome of the elections. Economic prospects, economic well-being, economic prosperity is something, or these are matters that are of great importance to almost each and every Guyanese, irrespective of their economic or social standing. So that the elections, which are to be held, as far as we know, in March 2020, is something that will be of great importance, not only to us, but the international community as well. And so Guyana, as part of the global village, will have to interact, as it always has been, with countries, governments, non-governmental organizations around the world. There is one major aspect of our international relations which will impact us in one way or the other. And that has to do with the settlement of the dispute at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, which the Venezuela-Guyana border controversy has been placed for final settlement once again, although many did recognize that a final settlement was already made to this matter, notwithstanding the fact that Venezuela had reopened the issue once again, and the then Bonham administration had foolhardily recognized what Venezuela claimed to be the territorial claim on Guyana's jurisdiction. So that global politics will play a big role, and especially in view of the fact that Guyana will now be part of the community of countries that produce petroleum and gas. So that we as a country, as a member state of CARICOM, we will have to reassess our relations, in my own view, with many countries of the world, many international organizations of the world, and perhaps the Caribbean community. Already in our country, while we are in elections mode, there are many Guyanese who are very skeptical about CARICOM's contribution to Guyana's fortunes. And this came about precisely at the time when the no confidence motion was passed, when it went through the court system, and when the Granger administration paid little or no attention to the decisions of the court and continued to ride roughshod over the constitution of our country. This led many in our country to be very skeptical, if not cynical, about the role of CARICOM in respect to the political and economic fortunes of Guyana. And so, moving from the global dimensions of our international relations, we move to the electoral situation in Guyana. They say that foreign policy is a domestic reflection of your domestic policy. And so the domestic issues or fundamental issue that is preoccupying the minds of many Guyanese now is the elections that is due in March of 2020. On that month, or during the course of that month, or on the 2nd of March to be more precise, Guyanese will decide who they wish to administer the affairs of this country and their own affairs, as a matter of fact. This is a fundamental decision that will have to be made by all Guyanese who have the right to vote. And I expect, speaking for myself, that all Guyanese who are registered to vote and who recognize the constitutional duty, their civic duty to turn out on election day and to cast their vote, that they will do so in a resolute and a determined manner. So that the decision of Guyanese to decide who will administer the affairs of Guyana will be a very fundamental one in this sense. The last elections, as you know, was held in 2015. The PPPC was removed from office by elections. And it is the general expectations, in keeping with the year of great expectations, that this year, in 2020, will see a change of government with the or through the ballot box. The opposition and many Guyanese are very concerned about the possibilities of rigging elections, resulting in a fraudulent electoral outcome. This is at the uppermost on the minds of the Guyanese people. I think, as I move around the country and talk to many Guyanese, including young people, they are very preoccupied about the prospects for rigging. And why are they so preoccupied about it? For two reasons. One is because they know the track record of the APNU AFC, and mainly of the PNC, which is the main political party in this coalition. They have heard from their parents. They have probably heard from their grandparents They have probably been following the news, and they know and are very conscious of what is called vote rigging and fraudulent elections. And they also are part of this journey to change the direction of our country, remove the APNU AFC from government and replace it most likely with the People's Progressive Party, CIVIC. So this concern about rigged elections is a big concern. And it would seem to me and many that already a national and social consciousness has arisen on this question. And that is important, very important, for question of the concern of rigged elections to have risen to a national level and has now embraced what is called the social consciousness of the nation. It is unfortunate that many of the new political parties that have emerged are not talking so much or aggressively about rigged elections. They are more concerned about governance. They're more concerned about constitutional reform. They're more concerned about social and economic issues, which is quite understandable. But for now, the major fight, the issue that is of greatest priority, is to ensure that we have free and fair elections in this country. We anticipate, as many do, that there will be a change of government. We all reject and will reject the fraudulent results of any elections which the PNC attempts to rig. So it would seem to me, from my knowledge and my understanding of talking to people, that there will be a national outcry and a national rejection of fraudulent elections should that take place in our country. This is not long ago, and people would say this time in a long time. And when in the past rigged elections would probably not be of concern to many, today, because of the national consciousness of the Guyanese people, they are very aware of what can transpire in a fraudulent elections, resulting also in a government, the APNU AFC government, staying in office. If there's a rigged elections, if there's a fraudulent elections, the big question is what happens next? Will we take to the courts? Will the courts be used as the other battleground? But let us recall that in 2015, after the elections, a elections petition was presented to the court in respect to the results of the 2015 elections. We do not know, at least speaking for myself, I am not aware of what has come about in respect to that elections petition. When I was General Secretary of the PPP, we held many demonstrations in front of the court, stating that justice delayed is justice denied, and that we would like to have an early hearing of the 2015 elections petition. But lo and behold, to this day, this petition has not been heard in the court. Big question is, will we ever know what transpired? Will we ever know why this petition was never heard in the courts of this country? So that if the elections are rigged, an attempt is made to take this to the courts by way of another petition, my friends, I want to believe that we must look at the experiences of 2015 in order to determine whether an elections petition or a fraudulent elections in 2020 will be of any use whatsoever. But it's early days yet. Let us not be too anticipatory. Let us not be too negative on this question. Let us wait and see what will be the outcome. Continuing with the scenario, let us hypothesize or let us speculate, because we have to engage in this kind of thinking in order to anticipate what will happen if the elections are going to be rigged. If the PPP wins, the people are saying, many people out there are saying that there's likely to be violence. I'm not so sure about that, but this is what people are talking about. That the APNU-AFC will not allow the PPP to hold office. Well, we've heard that before. We've heard that during the time of Mr. Hoyt. We've heard that during the time of Mr. Corbyn. But the point is this, that if the elections are rigged, a big role will have to be played by the international and donor community in order to determine how to deal with the situation, apart from the local players. So a solution will have to be found to that situation or to that problem. Assuming that the PPP wins the elections, one can only speculate that the PNC, APNU, AFC might want to resort to violence to prevent the PPPC from holding office. Again, solutions will have to be found, and the international and donor community will have to play a role in that respect, because long before the elections, even as today, and just after the no confidence motion was passed, and after the Caribbean Court of Justice had pronounced, many of the countries that are represented in Guyana, fundamentally the what is called the A, B, C, and E, America, British, Canadian, and European Union countries, had come out in favor of free and fair elections and against rigged elections. So they have already proclaimed and declared their favor or their interest in having free and fair elections in Guyana. And therefore, if there's a fraudulent election, one would expect that there would be some consistency in respect to their positions. If the PPP wins the elections, public safety and security will become a big issue. It will become a grave concern to many Guyanese who supported the change of government. It is possible that we can have electoral violence. I'd say possible, but highly improbable. But we can never discount that possibility. There are possibilities that there can be attacks on members of the political opposition. And there are possibilities that criminal enterprise, that crime, will increase in the country. So this is what you could call the worst case scenario. But like everything else, we have to look at both sides of the coin, the positive and the negative. Let us therefore look at the positive. Were the PPP to win the elections, which many have predicted will take place, the many releases or reliefs that were granted to the Guyanese people by the PPPC government in the past, my understanding, according to the manifesto of that party, will be reintroduced once again, thus bringing tremendous amount of relief to each and every Guyanese, especially single parents, the working man, the working woman, and many other Guyanese on different walks of economic and social life. More jobs will be created. We have heard the promise about reopening the sugar estates, inviting in more investors or investments in our country. And therefore, that means the possibility of more jobs. We will also find that the social benefits that were extended by the PPPC administration will once again be reintroduced. And there are many other policies with the APNU-AFC scrapped. My understanding, according to the manifesto of the PPPC, that those policies will be reintroduced and made reactive once again. In essence, what we will experience, and each and every Guyanese will experience, is a taste of the victory of the PPPC. In other words, there will be a taste for everyone were the PPPC to win the elections. In other words, a taste of the victory. A taste of the victory. And when I say a taste of the victory, I mean that in every area of economic, social, cultural, religious, and political life, every single Guyanese will be able to taste the victory of the People's Progressive Party, CIVIC. Now, let's move to the next scenario, where the coalition to regain office, let's say by a hook or a crook. We don't know. Many people are of the view that they have some tricks up their sleeves. But the fact of the matter is that we in the People's Progressive Party are very much aware of most of those tricks. We've had those experiences before. But let us assume, for the sake of speculation, that were the coalition to return to office, what can we expect? We can expect more racial and political discrimination. We can expect more taxes on the backs of every Guyanese. We can expect a spending governance, although already we're seeing tons upon tons of money being spent on all kinds of foolishness and prestige projects which do not bring any upliftment to the lives of the Guyanese people. We can expect more corruption. Already, this is one of the issues that have led to the unpopular nature of the government. Corruption, corruption, and more corruption. We can further expect more migration from the country. I have spoken to a number of Guyanese, and many have told me that, were the PNC or the APNU AFC to return to office, they're going to pack up and leave Guyana. I have no reason to doubt anybody or any of them for what they have said. I would prefer to give them the benefit of the doubt. And so let us wait and see. But we already have experiences that we can point to during the rule of the APNU AFC in office. So we know what the track record is, and we know that the APNU AFC has a track record that is one that is anti-people, anti-popular, and brings absolutely no benefits to the Guyanese people. Now let us move to the smaller parties that have been formed, what some describe as the emerging political parties on the periphery. Their position is that they would like to hold the balance in Parliament. They're not looking for executive office. They don't want to be the executive administration of the country. What they want to do is to hold the balance in the Parliament in order to force any government to make decisions that is of a consensual nature. We don't know what to expect from these parties. They don't have a track record. They have made declarations and they have spoken about what they intend to do. But nobody knows what to expect. Were they to win seats in Parliament, or were they to hold a balance, so to speak, in the National Assembly? So we have to engage, insofar as they're concerned, in a guessing game. My friends, the big question that many of us are concerned about is the fact that oil and gas will play a big role in the future of our country come 2020. Already, first oil, as they call it, has been announced. In other words, Guyana is now an oil-producing nation. But the fact of the matter is, there are a number of critical issues that are yet to be resolved. One of them is the local content issue. And a major issue has to do with the transparency with which negotiations are taking place in respect to the utilization of oil that is bought, that is for Guyana and sold on the international market, and so many other fundamental questions which have not been resolved because Parliament has not been meeting, and therefore laws have not been passed in order to accommodate Guyana's interests insofar as the production and sale of oil and gas in respect to Guyana's interests. A major issue that many people have asked is, will Guyana return to the days when it was known as Booker's Guyana, only this time it will be known as ExxonMobil Guyana. There's a huge multinational corporation owning the destiny of our country. So that we are looking forward to a year of great expectations, great anticipation, and it's a year that will bring a lot of excitement for everyone, irrespective of which party you support. People will be mobilizing after the Christmas holidays and the New Year holidays, and probably after the Republic Day celebrations. We will move into full elections mode. Already campaign for many of the parties has started. So what is good about the situation that we have now is the fact that with the PPPC out of office for 4 years, going into 5 years, people are able to make a comparative analysis. They're able to compare what they enjoyed under the PPPC with what they were deprived of under the APNU-AFC. And anytime you take away enjoyment from people, whether as a collective or an individual, anytime you take money out of people's pocket, anytime you take bread out of people's mouth, as was done by the APNU-AFC, which the PPPC had given to the people, this is going to be major issues during the elections period. So that people, the electorate, will have to decide which of the two regimes, so to speak, which of the two administrations they benefited under. Did you or did I benefit with a house lot? Did I benefit with more money in my pockets? Did I benefit from getting more prosperity in my family life and my personal life under the PPPC or under the APNU-AFC? This is what the elections will come down to. What did I benefit? What did I gain for my personal, family, and community upliftment under the PPPC compared to the APNU-AFC administration? And once those questions are honestly answered, once those questions are answered in a sincere way, I am positive that many of you in Guyana particularly who have the right to vote, and many of you may be coming back to Guyana to exercise your right to vote once you are on the voters list, once you have an identification card, once you decide to exercise your constitutional right, you will make the correct decision and you will vote according to your conscience. As we say, let your conscience be your guide in determining which political party, PPPC, APNU-AFC, or the others, peripheral parties, you wish to see administer the affairs of your country. And once you have made that decision, my friends and viewers, I am optimistic that that decision will be one that is favorable to peace, progress, and prosperity, and Guyana will be back on track once again, a country being a country that will bring prosperity to each and every Guyanese. Thank you very much. Until next time, let us greet each other for the new year and wish each other a happy and prosperous new year. Thank you.